Breaking news! Things are really heating up in Los Angeles, and the Rams have finally revealed what many people had been waiting for. Yes, my friends, the deal is done, and I'm about to tell you everything about this multi-million-dollar contract. Before we continue, make sure you've already hit the like button, but only do it if you really want to see the Rams in the next Super Bowl. Man, that would be incredible. If possible, leave a comment telling me who your favorite player is for this season. Without a doubt, mine is MYLES GARRETT, and man, he's exactly who I'm going to start talking about. The Los Angeles Rams have officially restructured MYLES GARRETT's contract, and this change is generating a lot of discussion because, although the total value of the deal remains the same, several important details in its structure have been modified. According to the information released, this is not a completely new contract, nor is it a situation where Garrett will receive less money. Instead, both sides agreed to revise parts of the existing agreement, creating more flexibility while maintaining the long-term commitment. One of the main points to highlight is that the total value of Garrett's contract remains at approximately $204 million over 5 years, with the agreement running through the 2030 season. His average annual value remains around $40 million per year. That alone says a lot. The Rams were not looking to change the foundation of the deal. They wanted to adjust the timeline, the guarantees, and future flexibility. One important detail that caught attention is that Garrett will receive a raise in 2026. According to reports, his cash earnings will increase from $31.5 million to $37 million. Rather than reducing his earnings, the revised agreement appears to accelerate payments and reward him while also helping the organization manage its current salary cap situation. This is a crucial point because fans sometimes hear the phrase restructured contract and immediately assume a player sacrificed money for the team. That does not appear to be the case here. Instead, it looks like a negotiated adjustment in which both sides found a solution that benefits everyone involved. Another significant element involves future guarantees. The discussion emphasized that the Rams pushed back the vesting dates for future guarantees by several months. While the complete structure was not yet available, the expectation was that additional guaranteed amounts could be tied to a future year that previously had no guarantees attached. What makes this interesting is that it shows a level of cooperation between player and organization. A contract cannot simply be changed by one side. Both parties must agree. The fact that this adjustment happened suggests there is confidence and communication between Garrett and the Rams as they continue building their long-term relationship. There was also discussion regarding the no-trade clause. Garrett reportedly waived his no-trade protection in order to join the Rams, but the revised agreement restores that protection. That means the Rams cannot simply move him elsewhere without restrictions. It reinforces the idea that this partnership is intended to be a serious long-term commitment, rather than a short-term experiment. The contract structure itself may become one of the most fascinating aspects of this entire situation. While the agreement runs through 2030, there are mechanisms available involving void years that can spread financial obligations much further into the future. The discussion explained that signing bonus allocations can potentially be distributed across additional years, helping the Rams avoid taking massive cap hits all at once. That does not mean Garrett is expected to play until the late 2030s. In fact, the conversation made it very clear that such a scenario is not the expectation. Instead, these mechanisms simply provide financial flexibility. Rather than absorbing huge amounts in a single season, the Rams can distribute those figures over a longer period. For fans trying to understand why teams do this, the explanation was simple. It is essentially a way of managing financial pressure over time. Instead of loading everything into 1 year and potentially restricting roster-building opportunities, the organization creates breathing room. The result is greater flexibility when making future decisions. And that leads to another important takeaway from this entire discussion. The belief expressed was that this revised agreement does not prevent future negotiations. In fact, it may actually make future discussions easier. The expectation presented was that Garrett's situation could evolve similarly to veteran players who revisit their contracts later in their careers. Rather than simply playing out every remaining year under the original terms, future seasons may involve additional negotiations based on performance, age, and team needs. Looking at projected cap numbers down the road, there was skepticism that Garrett would simply play under some of the larger future cap hits without further adjustments. Instead, it was suggested that annual conversations could become part of the process as he moves deeper into his career. That naturally raises another question that Rams fans are asking: how long does Garrett actually want to play? During the discussion, considerable attention was given to Garrett's pursuit of historical sack totals. Using career averages and current production trends, projections were examined to estimate what his future could look like if he continues performing at a high level. The numbers paint a fascinating picture. Based on the pace outlined during the discussion, Garrett could eventually challenge and potentially surpass major career sack milestones if he maintains his current level of production. The suggestion was that he may not simply want to reach historic territory. He may want to separate himself from it. That possibility becomes especially intriguing when considering how productive he has been in recent years. His sack totals have consistently remained among the league's best, and there was discussion about whether his most recent production represents a new level or simply the continuation of an already dominant career trajectory. Another point that generated excitement was Garrett's reported attitude during off-season activities. According to the discussion, Garrett was a full participant in OTAs and appeared extremely happy. Reports of photos showing him smiling and enjoying his new environment were highlighted as a positive sign for the Rams. That enthusiasm matters. Whenever a player arrives in a new situation, fans want to know how invested he is. Is he committed? Is he excited? Is he fully embracing the opportunity? The impression shared was that Garrett appears genuinely energized by this next chapter. Part of that excitement may come from the opportunities available to him. The discussion pointed out that Garrett spent many years in one environment before arriving in Los Angeles. Now he finds himself entering a new situation with different possibilities and expectations. The belief expressed was that this fresh start could provide a new level of freedom and motivation as he continues pursuing his goals. Another interesting topic involved what the Rams might do next. Even though the contract situation appears largely settled, there was a strong feeling that the organization may not be finished making moves. Specifically, there was speculation that the wide receiver room could still see changes before the season begins. Importantly, no certainty was presented. This was framed as a personal belief and expectation rather than confirmed information. However, the idea was that additional adjustments could occur as the Rams continue evaluating their roster. That possibility keeps the spotlight firmly on the front office. A revised Garrett contract gives the Rams more flexibility. Flexibility often leads to opportunity. Opportunity frequently leads to additional roster decisions. Whether those moves happen or not remains to be seen, but the conversation clearly suggested that the current roster may not necessarily be the final version fans see when the season arrives. The discussion also touched on several key Rams players whose futures will eventually require attention. Kobe Turner was identified as a particularly important figure because of his impact on the defensive front. His development and value to the team were highlighted repeatedly, and there was a belief that he represents one of the foundational pieces the organization may want to keep long-term. The same broader principle applied throughout the conversation. Teams must constantly balance present success with future planning. That is exactly why Garrett's contract adjustment matters beyond the financial details. It is not simply about dollars and cap numbers, it is about creating options. The Rams appear to be positioning themselves for both immediate competitiveness and future flexibility. They are making decisions that allow them to remain active while preserving the ability to adapt as circumstances change. As this story continues to develop, more details about the complete contract structure are expected to emerge. Those details will likely provide a clearer picture of how guarantees, future years, and cap management have been organized. But for now, the biggest headline is straightforward. MYLES GARRETT remains firmly committed to the Rams. The Rams remain firmly committed to MYLES GARRETT. The contract has been adjusted, the relationship appears strong, and the organization now has additional flexibility moving forward. For a team looking to maximize every opportunity, that is significant news. What do you think about the Rams reworking MYLES GARRETT's contract and the possibility that this move could open the door for even more roster changes before the season begins? Don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and click on the video on your screen. The latest Rams news and updates first arrive right here.